What's going on, everybody? It's Rod with POW Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Also home to the best MJ community. It is Friday, February 2nd. Happy Friday. Hope you're doing well. And in this video, we're going to be discussing Tilray brands, getting a lot of requests to do a quick update on the chart. So we'll take a look at the technicals and what to expect in terms of price action in the days, weeks, months ahead. But we are holding key weekly support at the moment, and we are still waiting for monthly uptrends to confirm. We're seeing monthly uptrends across the US names, which is great to see. A rising tide lifts all boats. So we know that I think Curaleaf was the first to do it, AYR, Green Thumb, and then Trulieve, and then MSOS ETF for the first time in history actually confirmed a monthly uptrend. So this is great to see, and I would expect that the bottom is likely in, and that we're ending this brutal multi-year bear market, and we should see the LPs start to act as laggards. If we get a DEA headline any month now, it could be any week. There's talks that it could be imminent. It's going to increase the demand for these LPs because they're listed on US major exchanges. So I think the LPs will likely be the next to confirm monthly uptrends, and names like High Tide and Tilray I think are going to be one of the ones that benefit the most from a headline like that. But before we get to it, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all the good stuff, and you'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. You can also give us a follow over on X, which is formerly Twitter. The handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward, and it's the best way for me to get real-time updates out to the community. And as always, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment and informational purposes only. Never, ever, ever buy anything or sell anything based on anything that I write or anything that I say. Also, if you haven't seen this interview, I recently tweeted it out, and I also posted on the community tab. So if you go to the POW Group YouTube channel, click on community, you can actually view this interview and podcast with Brewing Great Returns. That was posted today, and it was filmed a couple of days ago. But essentially, we discuss MJ and crypto, and we discussed Tilray in there as well, but I highly encourage you to check that out, and I'll probably be back on at some point in the future in the next couple of months. But Blake Downer was the one who reached out to me, and he actually writes for Seeking Alpha as well. So if you're looking for something to do this weekend, you can check that out. Also, I did a video on my MJ portfolio 2024 update. If you haven't seen that, I go over my entire MJ portfolio currently with percentages. I did one about 6 months ago in 2023, so I did an update after maxing out my TFSA here in Canada, and Tilray still being my biggest position in my MJ portfolio. And we also had some news today that Germany's coalition government reaches final deal on MJ legalization bill with votes set for this month, and they're expecting it to go live in April. So we're seeing tons of growth catalysts. We know rescheduling is imminent. We could see that announcement realistically. I've been on record to say Q1, Q2 of this year. I think it's going to happen before May of this year, but there's talks that it could come out this month, but I would say March, April is the most likely scenario at some point between now and the end of April. So that would be huge. There's talks about safer banking gaining traction as well, and lots of robberies and things like that that are going to entice lawmakers to do something, and they've been pretty reluctant to get anything done. And I think with regards to Florida on the ballot, Germany, the MJ Act up for review here in Canada, there's tons of catalysts, and with Germany being the biggest one for Tilray, right? We know the rescheduling and uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ is going to benefit mostly the US MSOs and the removal of 280E, but it will benefit the LPs by, in a way that when we get the DEA headline, that's going to skyrocket these names like Tilray, your Canopies, your High Tide, your SNDLs, because they're listed on US major exchanges. But Tilray is going to be one of the biggest beneficiaries of that German market. So watch for that news to potentially mark a bottom here. But on Tilray, we are holding key weekly support. So we're still in a weekly uptrend. We have our low, high, higher low, and higher high. So now we're just consolidating on the weekly, meaning that we're losing the low of the previous weekly candle. And key support is at 175. As long as 175 USD on the NASDAQ holds, we're still in a weekly uptrend. And we could even see a weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross for the second time since the huge run-up in February 2021 high. So it's about 3 years since we saw that weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. We gave back that whole move after the HHS recommendation hype, but usually that's just when you see a monthly higher low forming. And like I said, tons of names in the US are confirming monthly uptrends, and MSOS is one of them, being the ETF that tracks all the major US producers. You can see here, first time in history, low, high, higher low, and higher high. So that increases the odds that we're going to see the Canadian names do so as well. And like I said, they'll benefit the most from a headline because all retail investors and institutional capital will be flowing into Tilray, for example. And for comparison, back in 2023 in March. In one day, Tilray had $2.1 billion traded just in the NASDAQ name, not even factoring in the TSX or the NEO exchange, just on the NASDAQ alone. And for comparison, I think that day TruLeaf only traded like $15 million or something like that, right? So this is where the institutional capital is going to flow in once we get that DEA headline, and then also tons of retail investors. Think of people in Europe as well who can't even buy MSOS ETF. They're limited to the Tilrays of the world and the canopies on the NASDAQ, right? And then ultimately we're looking for this monthly high or low and uptrend to confirm, just like we saw on Curaleaf, AYR, Green Thumb, TruLeaf, then MSOS. Now we're looking for the Canadian names to act as laggards, which is sort of to be expected because, like I said, rescheduling is going to benefit the MSOs the most. But it's all about 340 on the monthly time frame. If we break 340 and we hold 150 on this monthly high or low, and then we come back to resistance, break 340, then we're in a monthly uptrend, just like Curaleaf, AYR, Green Thumb, TruLeaf, and MSOS. But at the moment, key support right now is, like I said, is that weekly support there at 175, and then after that it's 161 monthly support, and then the all-time low at 150. So like I said, all about 175. We lose 175, we're probably heading back down to 161. And something I wanted to mention here as well is it is a daily bear flag that confirmed. We had our high, low, lower high, failed to get above the 0.382 fib there at 210 USD. And then when we came down and lost 184, that actually confirmed the daily bear flag. And if we take the measured move, it's saying that we could potentially see a low of 152 as a target of this daily bear flag. I don't think that's the most likely scenario. We'd really need, the S&P 500 likely to see a pretty sizable pullback, which would just be healthy in my opinion. And then, continued weakness in the Canadian sector and maybe even the sector at large. We know a lot of the US MSOs have run a ton over the last couple of weeks and days specifically. So they're likely due for a cool-off session. And like I said, if SPY were to see any meaningful weakness, Tilray not set up the best, or many of the Canadian names in that regard. But SPY, if we take a look at S&P 500, it's actually a daily bull flag that's confirming the opposite, and it's targeting about 507. And then it's also a weekly bull flag as well, which is targeting 521. So if we just bring this up here, you can see here 521 there on the weekly bull flag target. So that is great for the MJ sector and Tilray because that should be tailwinds. So let's see if we can get Germany, if we can get some Germany news, if the vote passes and they set to go live in April, then that'll obviously be huge for Tilray and could potentially mark a temporary bottom. And then, like I said, it's all about key weekly support there at 175, after 175, 161, then 150. Key resistance from here on the weekly time frame is going to be that 254 and 252, the earnings reaction high, and then that's a double top, so that's key resistance going forward. And then after that, it's 340 there on the monthly. But on the weekly time frame, we're not looking too hot. We closed below the 10-week moving average. We're seeing a bear cross of the MACD on the weekly. But one good thing about this is we're getting that bear cross out of the way, and we're gearing up for another potential golden cross here with the 50-day moving average crossing the 200. So in terms of the weekly time frame as well, we were struggling with the 50 weekly there at 218. So if we can get a couple of candle closes over 218, then we got some runway to about 306. Then that 340 monthly resistance comes into play, break that, monthly uptrend confirmed, and then we're probably heading back to our 200 weekly moving average there around $7, which a lot of names are starting to do so. If you take a look at GTBIF or Green Thumb, got very close to its 200 weekly, right? And then if you take a look at a name like Curaleaf, getting close to its 200 weekly, AYRWF, getting above its 100, still some runway to go till its 200 weekly. TruLeaf, getting close to its 200 weekly. So again, if Tilray were to do so and act as a laggard, that'd put us around $7. And like I said, getting this weekly MACD bear cross out of the way might not be such a bad thing because we're still holding weekly support at 175, still maintaining the weekly uptrend as we look to confirm a monthly uptrend and see this follow through of this golden cross. So like I said, it's looking like we could see Germany pass their vote this month and then go live in April, and that's going to be huge for Tilray. So like I said, all about 175, then 161, and then we'll look for 340 resistance to break, 254, and then 340. But going to end it there. Hope you have a great weekend ahead. Happy Friday. We'll see you again on the next video.